Hello everyone, this is Jay High from Couch and Keyboard, and I just wanted to go over a few things that happened recently. So a few days ago, at Evo, we had Tyler 1 versus Ludwig in Street Fighter 6, and they have clashed before. They did like AT&T Annihilator Cup. They had their League of Legends stuff between the show match originally, and then Ludwig grinding the platinum, and so they've had a history, and they both played it some thanks to that AT&T Annihilator Cup of them being on the same team. And when they were on the same team, there was still a bracket where they played each other and Ludwig won with his classic E Honda versus Modern Guile from Tyler 1. Now they were on the same team, so it didn't quite matter, but I do think it was pretty interesting that they still cared so much about that. And so Evo decided to have this kind of influencer match. And some people were kind of skeptical, but it did not disappoint. Ludwig had the secret Marissa pick after faking with JP or being thought to be Honda, and it was just fantastic. And I kind of wanted to have me like examine these popular like streamer events and see like what is good about them and what other games should maybe learn from that. Now, I don't necessarily think that this was game breaking for Street Fighter. It has 73,000 views, the VOD. I watched Brian F's stream of it, and I think there was some cool stuff there. A lot of people watched it live. There's been some stuff to where Ludwig said that Street Fighter doesn't get very many viewers, and people were roasting him for that. But it's like, look, man, like I think it's totally fine to look at the writing on the wall, and maybe Street Fighter can improve. In Asia, it's very popular to watch people play it, but fighting games are just not that popular to watch. But I do think this helps. I think Tyler 1 grinding to master rank, and this kind of like novelty events here, I think is good. The main one that comes to mind is Sage Jam Slam. I think Sage Jam Slam is fantastic. I wasn't a huge Tekken enjoyer until I watched one of these. I mean, we had like Coney, and I think Slime joined for the second one. These were fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think that while it could potentially be gamed, where it's like you could have someone where it's kind of like a crew battle, but more so like a best of 5 with each of your players, to where if they win, they don't stay on. So it's kind of like that, but it can be gamed if you have like some of your worst players like be in a different tier. I feel like it's like, okay, like you're not trying to deceive everyone, like, and even still they can switch if things are too out of balance. But no, I really enjoyed that. Like watching Coney and Slime and a bunch of other people I was familiar with play this, made me enjoy Tekken more, and I watch it more often. Obviously, the story between with Arson Ash kind of made me aware of Tekken, but actually like me enjoying the game and watching it, and I actually purchased it. I haven't played it that much yet, but at least they did their job of promoting the game. And then you have Street Fighter 6. This was also pretty cool. I think that like I was a little bit more invested in the earlier ones. That can happen to where it's like your later iterations don't have quite the same appeal. But this was also really cool. And then they also had a 2XKO one combining with Box as well. This one was a little bit strange in terms of like the format. There was like some doubles in there, but it had Cody involved. That was cool. Void, DeBuzz, like Stans, Brawl Pro, like there's people I'm familiar with that I think it was pretty cool. And I thought it was cool. Uh, yeah, so I think that fighting games have really benefited from these kind of like influencer, tournaments. And people might say it's like, oh, they already make so much money But it's like, I mean, SK and Lily like becoming so prominent in these games is cool. It's awesome to see. And I really think that it's important to see if it is a good idea for like these different games to try and have other streamers kind of like promote the grinds. Because when we've seen like celebrities try certain things, like mainly comes to mind is a celebrity basketball game for All-Star Weekend. Now maybe you have Kevin Hart trying to win MVP over those few years and Drewski, but like it's not that big of a deal. They're not grinding basketball with the hope of like winning this. It's just they're hanging out. It is fun, and I do think that watching someone who's not traditionally involved in the community of these games pick it up and try and start grinding, I think that's so cool. I think it's so important to do that. Now we've seen a couple of those things with platform fighters. I kind of do a rundown of all these things that I've kind of thought of. Probably the biggest one is let's see, where did it go? I was looking at PogChamps. Here it is. This is kind of like the staple, and I think Ludwig has so much like prominence, partially because of all these things that he does. I mean, like he grew so much. They also like the chess stream went down, so like Ludwig got rated, and he had a ton of viewership. But like he really capitalized, and he didn't do very well in the final bracket. He got second in the consolation bracket. This was really cool. I remember watching this and being so invested in the XQC Ludwig match, and then the finals, and like I watched a little bit. And not to say that these players were too good, but I think it is cool to where there's like a balance where it's like they're obviously practicing. They're not just like never played before, but you don't know if they're going to like actually succeed in getting it done and actually doing things well. That's part of why like seeing Ludwig do those level 3 combos was so like amazing. We didn't think he had that. PogChamps 2, Cutie competed, Ludwig was a commentator. He got back in at PogChamps 3, did alright. PogChamps 4, yeah, that's the right one, lost to Box. But some of these had crazy influencers. I mean, we had Mr. Beast, we had Rainn Wilson and Logic. Like, not even really influencers, just straight up celebrities. There was one to where, what was it? It was like the one that Tyler1, because Tyler1 had done chess, didn't do very well, and then he like really grinded it and got very good. And like his chess improvement and grind was so impressive at so many people. He wasn't that good in this tournament, but he cared so much about it. I mean, we've seen him with like getting challenger for all of the league ranks and just trying things, and I think that's awesome. Influencer boxing is a big thing that I think is kind of like in this vein, although I wouldn't say it's necessarily about like growing game. It's just about money. I don't necessarily care about growing boxing, but the fact that like KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul like actually became like competent boxers instead of just a one-time thing, I think it's pretty interesting. And obviously I don't really, a lot of these events I don't really like. They were definitely orbiting, and then eventually like with the high profile matches with like Mike Tyson and all that kind of stuff was pretty dumb. But like I think it is interesting to see people actually like try and get better at this stuff. I do like that. And I think that while I don't fully, I didn't enjoy all this boxing stuff, I did watch some of it. I mean, Michael Reeves won one of them. You had I Did a Thing that was like, I think, what was it, that first Creator Clash or whatever it was? Yeah, here it is. This one was huge. I know obviously there have been some things falling out with IDubbbz and all that, but in the moment it was awesome. and I give a lot of credit, and people tried. I know Ludwig did chess boxing and smash boxing, and that was also pretty cool. I also enjoyed that. But like other things that come to mind, we have Wisely Wars for Rivals of Aether. We didn't have quite as big of a creator like in terms of prominence, but it was still cool. I watched some of it. I like see Coney and Ludwig and other people like that. I think it was interesting. They had a couple. I think they just did one pretty recently. And like Say Jam Slam, Wisely Wars, they combine with like giving out passes to Evo. I think that's a cool thing to get people involved. I mean, Tyler1 promoting like, hey, I had a lot of fun like playing offline in this big event, because I think a lot of people, they're like, if you throw them into the deep end, they're not going to want to stay there. Like they're not going to want to try and grind up. And it takes a certain kind of person that is inspired, even though they might have just cast a check or had some easy viewership, but they actually want to keep going with it. AT&T Annihilator Cup, that one was pretty big. They had a couple ones. This was the most recent one. They had 2XKO instead of Street Fighter, and they did I forget. They did 2K or something like that. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But there's been other things that were a little bit frustrating, and combining like also with Marvel Rivals, that's been a train wreck between like the Kingsman drama and even stuff recently. It's hard to have people like, if they're just playing and they don't actually practice, like it's not always the same. Like I like Adapt. He did not grind for any of the games. He did not care hardly at all. Like Ludwig and Tyler1, they really cared about the result, and then also Burnt Peanut drafted Double Lift. That kind of helped. But it was like, it's cool to see people care. And I mean, one of my favorite thing was the Nuzlocke Invitational. It was they have a new one coming up. Yeah, so this is the new one, but the last one I enjoyed so much. It was so cool. And I mean, I like Ludwig and like and Fuseli and all these like Connor Eats Pants. This one, I think that the streamer lineup isn't quite as stacked. They wanted to do it fully, but I mean, they have Me Young, they have Tubbo, Atrioc, Tina, Foolish. Like I'm very curious to see how Atrioc does, because he there was also one for Age of Empires, and he did sleep through his loser's match. But you know, it's cool to see people try. We have other Pokemon stuff, like Wolf Glick. We have like a Smash Invitational that we won a while ago. This was pretty cool. I didn't realize how small the prize pool was, but I mean, it's cool. Like to invite people, that makes them feel special, and you know, it's not as intimidating as maybe a open bracket might be. And we had one recently that I just watched, same time as Evo, pretty much. HBox did drop. We had someone else in their place, but I was familiar with Stans and Jarvis and Connor and Sea-Dog and Myung. Like I knew most of these streamers. I'm not huge on VGC personally. That's why I think I enjoyed the Nuzlocke part of the Nuzlocke Invitational more than the actual battling part. But I mean, the battling gives it a point and gives it stakes, so I thought that was cool. Some other ones, mid-offs. That was another one done recently. I think this is the one before, but the one more recently with Ludwig and Super, I was very invested. I actually made a video about it. I guess it happens pretty frequently, but like that's so cool. Like having the ability to compete in a way to where it's like you are with other creators, and you know, you're a little it's a little disappointing if you don't take it seriously, but if you do, like, it's cool to care. Like it's cool to see how it goes, and I really enjoyed so many of these, and I think that like other games have not necessarily like Twitch Rivals comes to mind. That was like one of the biggest things to where it was like to where like having streamers compete. And like Rust was one of those things where it was like the game itself kind of has competition. It's more so just like kind of like a sandbox competition thing. Yeah, they try to score it up. I don't think that works very well. But they had like streamer skins in Rust, and people were like, "Why don't you give them to the like big creators?" And eventually they did. But I mean, like coming with like Jacksepticeye, Ludwig, Myth, Lily Pichu, Pokemon Shroud, XQC, people like that. And I think it like I watched so much of Rust because of people I knew. And having that familiarity will get you because eventually I started watching Coconut B on a daily basis. Like getting someone involved in watching, I think helps so much with familiarity. And I think that it is important. Now, it's tough because like some of these they have clout to where like this was done by OTV. Like Ludwig has hosted a lot of these things. Like even like streamer games, like kind of like the streamer Olympics type of stuff. It's not like they're necessarily trying to be the best; they're kind of just showing up and doing whatever. But like seeing people attempt to win something, and it's a little bit lower stakes, but having like the kind of like this platform for people to watch it, I think is so cool. And I mean, something that comes to mind is like I mentioned, like we had another platform fighter do it with Rivals of Aether. But like, should Smash do this? I've had this idea to where it's like we've had Smashers compete in other things. We had like a chess, a Smasher thing. We had Wolf first invitational, or at least of the one that I was aware of. And like I do think that it is cool. There was also another one that I think he did with that, like with Void, I think. But I think that I would be really interested to see Smash do one of these. Now, like platform fighters have been my main like competition. I've done a lot of like I started when Smash 4 came out. I did a lot of Smash 4 in Melee, then Ultimate in Melee. Also, I've done some Rivals of Aether, mainly one, and then I also did some Project M. So obviously some of those like Rivals 1 and is probably not going to have as much enthusiasm. Same with Smash 4. Project M, there's no way that's going to happen, unfortunately. But like seeing Melee and Ultimate do these things, I would really want to see. Now, some of these have done it in person. I think the main thing with Melee is that, like, obviously you have to go through Nintendo, or at least not be blocked by Nintendo. And the fact that Slippy would probably be used would be, like, it just wouldn't work out. Now, you could do it in person. And those, like, Invitational, they have their finals in person. A lot of these things happen in person. Ludwig, I guess that wasn't like necessarily an influencer, but they had like Ludwig versus a fan. They did Super versus Liam, and that was exciting. Like having these in-person things can be cool. So that's a way of doing Melee. I think would have to probably be Ultimate. The thing is, Ultimate's kind of like not really prominent right now, but so many people have played Ultimate. That's one thing. Ludwig is bad at Ultimate. I wish he was better. And I'm not even that good. I almost made it out of pools at SmashCon one time. But I'm not that good, but Ludwig was just trash. I wish he would actually like grind it. Like they said they would do on the yard, but they just never did. Because like he because they did where was it? Here it is. Like they did like Ludwig versus Noah J. This was atrocious. But even they did like Slime and Crimson Blur. This kind of reminds me of Ludwig versus Tyler, but obviously these are way more like tournament established players compared to Ludwig and Tyler in Street Fighter. But like, I think it's cool. Like this was close to where you had people that were not the peak. It doesn't have to be the best players ever doing these things. I think you have that's why influencer boxing became bigger than normal boxing for a bit. Like as long as you have two people caring about something, it is likely going to be fun to watch. And I really think that, we could do one with Ultimate. Obviously, it would probably have to be, like, either like, online, just the netcode is so rough, so if you practice online, then do, like, an in-person tournament, I think that would be probably the best solution. I would want to see a melee one. I know like Zekin has like grinded some melee. Like some people have played a lot of melee. I would love to see a melee like kind of like coaching, maybe not in the Sajam Slam Wisely Wars, like maybe just like an open bracket, like a double elim, like 8 players type thing, like some people have done. But I just want to see it. I think that like sometimes they get paid to do it. Nintendo's not going to front that money, that's for sure. Maybe for the new Smash one, I'm not sure. I feel like you could maybe present it to them and look at Sajam Slam, how popular it is, and be like, look, just let it go through, and you know, maybe some people can put it on. I think that Ludwig was one of the main people hosting, and now that he's kind of pivoted away with some melee, and there's controversies and all that, so he kind of has more rivals now. But you know, I want to see more of these. I am so invested if I know someone compared to if I don't know someone. That's the biggest thing to help people familiarize, and it can help player base, it can help sales, but like it also just helps excitement around the game. Because if people are apathetic and the Steam numbers go down, that's tough to come back from. So like obviously Melee and Ultimate are not on Steam, but like I think that it'd be so exciting to do like these, you know, like celebrity or influencer, like people actually grinding and seeing how good they get. I would be really interested to see that. And, you know, I think that Melee I would probably enjoy more, but I would also like Ultimate. I mean, seeing how people, like we've seen, like Ultimate was popular. We've seen like Le'Veon Bell, the NFL player, like Asa Butterfield. Even for Melee, Tyler Joseph of 21 Pilots, like would like get Samus like advice from Hugs. Like there's a lot of people that care about these games because they're so popular. And if you were to just do this, I mean, we see Fuslie is still competing, like after getting involved, like partially because of the Nuzlocke Invitational, but like she just started keep doing with Pokemon and the VGC part of it, and that's so cool. Like I really think like getting people like having the chance to get them the bug and like get them to keep grinding, like Tyler1, like Fuslie, like Lily Pichu, like getting these people to get invested, I think can help so much. And I really want to see it for Smash. I really want to see it for other games, because I like main things. Like I watched Evo. I'll keep up with Combo Breaker and CEO and all those kinds of events. But like I am so much more invested if I am familiar with these players. And like yeah, I think Mina RD and Daigo and Justin Wong and like all these like pillars of the community that I like them. But seeing people that are not normally involved grind and care about it is fantastic. And I want to see it more often. Obviously, there are some shortcomings for some games, but I want to see it more. I really enjoy it. We've seen a lot of successful ones, maybe not as successful as they wanted it to be, but it's fun. It's a good viewer experience, and I want to see it happen more. And yeah, I am very curious to see when the next, because like Ludwig has done such a good job with these kinds of things. Like he has benefited so much from so many of these, and even like the State Farm stuff. Like it's cool to see him care, and I think Ludwig and also Tyler1, I gotta give huge props. But there's a reason why they were chosen and why it went well, and I want to see like if this can kind of lay the groundwork, not to take away from like the top level, but to like be like additive, like supplementary, complementary, whatever. I want to see if we can like add to it. But yeah,